Unsolved.
The Zodiac Killer Case. His first name is Paul. The Zodiac Killer murdered Paul Stine, not because he had something against Paul Stine, but because he was angry with someone who lived at that location on Washington Street. And the Zodiac Killer was taken by surprise when the teenager across the street witnessed him wiping down the cab. And so when he went to walk away, the Zodiac Killer wanted to walk west back to where his apartment had been. But because the witness saw him there, he ended up moving north on Cherry instead of going west on Washington Street. And then when he got up to Cherry and Jackson, he again wanted to go west back to his apartment. But the witness went up the street a little and saw him. So he was forced to go the wrong way, and so he turned east. So he turned right and went east on Jackson. Then he went up a block, and the police officers pulled up beside him and asked him a question, and then they took off. And so the Zodiac had no car, and he was stuck. He couldn't go back west because that's where the crime scene was and the witnesses. So he is forced to go north into the Presidio and ultimately had to hide out the night at the Presidio. So looking at the Zodiac Killer's attack plan, Paul's plan, the Zodiac's first name is Paul. He was going to take a taxi to Washington and Maple, giving a false address, but being close to the location of the person he wanted to get back at. He was going to shoot the taxi driver, then he was going to cut off a piece of his shirt for the newspaper and to prove that he was the Zodiac Killer. He was going to take the driver's wallet and keys. He planned to wipe off the taxi inside and out, and then he was going to walk west to his apartment, and then he would write the letter to mail to the San Francisco Chronicle. Paul was a veteran of World War II, and he served in the Pacific Theater in Guadalcanal, and he started his service at March Field in August 1940 and ended his service in December of 1945. And he was a member of the United States Army Air Force. When Paul entered the Army, you can see from the back of his registration card that he was white, 5 foot, 8.5 inches tall, blue eyes, brown hair, and weighed 165 pounds, and his complexion was light. He also wore glasses. After his service, he attended college at San Jose State, and he was an editor for the school newspaper, one of the editors. Paul was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and he moved to California in the late 1930s. He worked the last 15 years of his life for the U.S. government. He never married, and he died on September 11th, 1978 at 4:50 p.m. Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved, and on the next Zodiac killer case, I'll tell you what Paul's connection was to that house, who that 8-year-old witness was, and more details of why he did what he did. So I'll see you the next time.